here we go with the Boots and Blooms outline. This is part of my Country watercoloring book, and it's so cute. I have 21 outlines on high quality watercolor paper. They're all kind of farm themed. Yeah, so I have it linked if you don't already have the book. I also have my paints and my brushes linked as well. You could do it as a bundle or individually, depending on what you need. And yeah, we're gonna get started. If you have been around for a while, you probably recognize this outline. Something I like to do when creating a new book or figuring out what my new book should be is I'll release written instruction individual bundles to see if there's interest in a specific topic. And so this is why you have seen this outline before. So now instead of written instruction, we get to do this together as a video tutorial. So I'm using my size 10 round tip brush, and we're just gonna get going on it. I think what we're gonna do first is do the boots, and then we'll come in with the flowers afterwards. So we're gonna create our brown. I'm gonna use this third down. It's more of like a burnt sienna. And I'm gonna add blue. Sometimes I like to spray my paints so that they are ready for me. So I'm just using, this is what I use sometimes in my hair. So if you have a spray bottle, I'm just spraying them to get them prepped so I don't have to sit there and scrub as bad or as much. I'm just trying to get a cooler tone of this brown for our boots. And because the boots are the bulk of, we have a lot of space to cover, I do want to make sure that I make a lot of it so I'm not sitting there trying to make the same color. So again, we use the burnt sienna, third one down, and then this blue. I think that looks really pretty. If you don't want it so blue, you can add a little bit more of that burnt sienna back in there. And adding more water. There we go. And I'm just gonna work in sections. Gonna do this bottom spot first and then come over here so that I have more control. Just painting over the entire thing, except leaving out where the leaves and flowers are. Okay, and as we get to the top of the boot, you could probably just grab your water and spread that so that it shows somewhat of a reflection on the top of the boot. Or not a reflection, where the sun is hitting it. And then I'm gonna pull that water off, giving us more of a controlled look. There we go. You could come over on the heel and just add a little bit more of that color on the arch, like this. And then you're gonna clean your brush off, dab off the water, and use the tip of your brush to kind of pull that color. There we go. Now we can move over to the heel. There we go. Could add in a little bit of that color to the back heel. Coming down here. There we go. Now we're gonna start working in here and upwards. If you notice you have too much water on your brush, you can dab it onto the paper towel. You want to be able to have more control without puddling to get that smooth look. Nice. This is nice because there's really not a whole lot of technique other than just like filling in the space. So you can turn on a favorite song or podcast or something and just kind of enjoy the mindlessness of this. So while we still have this color, before we add any other color into the mix, let's do this back. Cute. Okay, if you want some sun coming through or showing some highlight up here, you can just brush your slightly wet brush and lift some of that color off. And then we're gonna add some more shadows, or we can leave it whatever you wanna do. But we're gonna pause there for a minute and add just a tiny bit of this red, brown, and more blue. Creating just a slightly darker shade, and we're gonna do the inside of the boots. Okay, now that this side is done, we're gonna do the sole, and I'm gonna just use this brown that we have, but I'm gonna add more blue. That was way too much blue. I'm gonna add some of this back in. Maybe a little bit of gray. Okay, adding some water because I don't want it super dark. And you can test it on your paper towel first to make sure you like it. But we don't want a whole lot on our brush as we're doing kind of tighter areas. But we're just going to be doing these sections here. Using this same color to come up and do these spots as well. Okay, and then while we have this color out, you could use it to do an extra shading here, where I've mapped out on the heel, right there. Maybe some at the like crease, and then use it to kind of just like do very subtle dots following this stitching line. And that's even darker than I want to, so I'm grabbing that and dabbing that excess off. And then once that is dry, we're gonna move on to the flowers. So we can start with our lighter yellows, and then we'll add the colors later. So I'm gonna use this salmon right here and add a little bit of this yellow. I'm gonna take the green out of it though. I'm not very good at washing my brush all the way before grabbing new colors. Okay. And something you can do to add a little bit more of a creamy base, you could use white for those yellows, or you could just add more water, whatever you want to do. But we're going to fill this in. I'm leaving some white space in there, not a whole lot. Some can be more full. I think this flower here, I had blue before, but I think I'm gonna have it yellow. Awesome. I think those are the 3 or the 4 now that I have as the little daisy vibes. Now we can bring in, it really doesn't matter, we could do whatever we wanted. Maybe we could bring in the like orange ones. So I'm gonna grab orange, add some water in there, mix it with our red, and then gonna grab a little bit of blue to neutralize it. Not so vibrant. I think that's pretty. And if you wanted more like a pink tone, we could add a little bit of pink over here and mix the two together for the flower. With this, I'm really just filling it in. I'm not doing much of technique at all. I'm just using the tip of my brush. Doing more of the orange tone for this one. I think I want more orange. Slightly more vibrant than I had before. It's blending in. Okay, this one, moving the shade over to more of like a burnt red. So I'm gonna grab this add some blue, maybe a little bit of green. And some water. I'm gonna have it be slightly more diluted than this color that I chose. Being very careful not to get those inner colors. Okay, now we are going to add this blue in, and I think, if I remember right, this is just straight from the tube here. It does have some of the color I had on before. If you want it slightly more blue, you could add this ultramarine. Mix the two of these together. Maybe a little bit of black. Pretty. Oh, before I forget, let's do this flower up here. I love that the colors on this one are giving more of like a really rustic vibe. So now that the yellow is dry, we can grab straight from here and add a little bit of purple, and that will bring, we'll clean my brush off this time. Grab some purple, and that will help neutralize the yellow as the complementary color. We still want it to be really deep, so we want more color than we have water. Okay, there we go. This is where you're just gonna do some dabbing, and we're just gonna fill in all the rest of the little flowers that we have missed. Dabbing, leaving some white space if you want to. All right, let's start mixing the greens, and we are about to see all of this come together. We have green here. We could add some darker green in there. And the way that we are going to neutralize the vibrancy is, have you heard me say it so many times? Using the complementary color. So you could choose red for the warmer, or if you want it to be more cool, you could add purple. But look how cute. So we have this one. I think we're gonna have two different greens. I'm gonna have one over here. And I'm gonna add just this burnt red here to it. And see how those two look together. Starting with the lighter green, because we want to work lights to darks. So where these lines are, you could leave a white space like this. You could leave it light like that, or you could kind of mix these colors together and bring in that darker. I feel like the darker color might look a little bit better to show some contrast between the boots. Leaving a little bit of a white line there. Very pretty. Okay, I'm actually so bummed because my camera died as I was painting the leaves, but it really is very simple. All you had to do is fill in where all the stems are, and then you'll be done. I didn't do any special techniques. I literally just like painted in the leaves, bouncing between the two colors that we created right here. If you wanted more contrast, you can add more green color in, but I kind of just left it, as you can see, very raw. Not a whole lot of detail or color change. Look how cute she turned out. I hope you loved it and you're proud of your painting. Tag me if you did it. Let me know any questions you have, and I'll see you next time for this very patriotic horse ride. I'm really excited about it. So I'll see you next time.